Hold on.
Hold on.
A second. Might just wait for stuff to trickle in. People will trickle in, I think. I think I will. I think I will. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Hallelujah. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, I noticed. Sorry. I noticed. Oh, boy. Welcome to Tado's Hardcore Media. I think I'll wait for some people to trickle in, I think. Let's see, hold on. That's not what I want. That's not. There it is.
Cliff Notes.
Let me get here. Anyways. All right. So, let's see. This is about. Let's get into this here. This is Osmond Gold. He's obviously shout out to him and stuff, talking about. I want to do. I've done this stuff on this about gaming and everything. And let's see. Order by. How nice. My face isn't on there. Hold on. Oh, here it is. All right. There it is. All right. It's better. Some people would say it's better not to show my face. Anyways. All right. Now we're good. I've been doing stuff on this about how we pay for content. And we own it. This is not just about games to me. This is about movies that we buy. This is about other content as well. Videos and other stuff that we buy on the internet. And I have been buying any new games whatsoever. Because of really getting dicked, really, by different gaming companies and how we no longer own what we buy. But, anyways, let's get into this here.
And there is an initiative that has been aiming to fight back against a lot of these practices that I think really need some big overhaul. And
it's consumer protection laws. This is effectively what this initiative is. At its very core is consumer rights advocacy. It's not about video games. It's not about Ubisoft. It's not about what's in a terms of service of a video game or not. It's really about consumer rights and people having the ability to choose what's going to happen with their own stuff.
And the thing is, we pay for it, and yet we don't own it. I think this is, Amazon, gaming companies, EA, Ubisoft, Blizzard, Activision, stuff like that. And we, the people, are getting screwed up the ass in so many ways. just totally, companies say F you. If you don't have the internet, you can't download it, you can't own it. And what I'm saying is, if we buy it, it's ours. We're free to make hacks and own it that way, or make a screen, record it, or do whatever. As long as we're paying for it, it's not piracy. If we use alternate ways to get that content that we pay for. And Congress, especially the U.S., has not been doing their jobs to protect the consumer. I see Europe has done a lot more in consumer, protection and stuff like that, but the U.S. is at least 5 years behind, if not more. I say six.
Initiative that I think a lot of you are probably very familiar with. It's called Stop Killing Games.
That would be a good thing.
And I've followed it since its inception. I've talked about it on stream quite a few times.
So have I.
Though this is my first video going over it.
Oh.
And I regret that now because I see it wasn't going as well as I thought it was. Admittedly, I didn't follow.
I think it's gone very well.
I haven't heard anything about this. All I'm saying is, we buy a game, we buy a movie, we buy other content, we pay for it, that's ours. Okay? I make content for people, I make videos, I make stories for people. If you buy my stuff, that's yours, okay? And that includes, some adult content that I've done as well. You buy it, that should be yours legally. And it's bullshit when these companies can say, fuck you, we're stealing your money. You can't have it. Like I said, this isn't just about games, this is everything that we pay for should be ours, not the companies.
Like almost 500,000 signatures is a tremendous success.
But for those that don't know anything about Stop Killing Games, I'm going to let him explain it in his own words, that way you can get an actual, correct, informed explanation of what the initiative is. And the reason I say it like that, kind of like fucking all, pinky out, snooty, is because a lot of people don't even really know what this is because of people like Pirate Software completely misrepresent.
Oh no, I don't know.
Oh, jeez. They bringing them up.
Representing what the initiative was.
As a refresher, Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement to stop publishers from effectively destroying video games they have already sold to customers.
Yeah.
I'll pause right there. The simplest, bare bones, birthday suit, butt-ass naked explanation for what this is.
Did you say blast naked?
Stop destroying things.
The initiative for Stop Killing Games is to serve the purpose of stopping companies from killing games.
I mean, they shouldn't name it that. It should be stop ripping off us consumers, us that are paying money. And we're keeping these guys in power. We're keeping these companies alive by buying their stuff. And they're saying, screw you, fuck you, we don't care about you, you don't own the games that you just bought. And I've seen on Ubisoft, I've seen other gaming companies as well. You're talking about also, was it Funimation? When they switched to Crunchyroll, I'm talking about anime too. This is not just, games. This is everything. If we buy it, that should be ours. Plain and simple. And it's like, people say, oh, this is mine. And everything that we think we own, we don't seem to own. And you find out, it pisses me off. And like I said, I don't buy games anymore. I don't. Because of this. Even Steve, does the same thing, same BS. We have to be connected to the internet. We should be able to download it. There's no excuse. Why? We cannot download something that we buy and own it. Yeah, we get fucked all the time. we can't always use the internet. Sometimes we go places where there is no internet, and we should be able to play what we buy. This is games, this is videos, this is movies, and everything else.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, that makes sense.
That people have paid money to own.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
I think that is a very understandable, very reasonable take. Very agreeable. Now I want to quickly jump to a different spot in this video because I think it's important to have this in the beginning because it's something a lot of people have heard that comes from someone that is just wrong about it. It's the pirate software portion. Ross is addressing the video pirate software made many months ago.
I remember watching this.
Ross even says that he didn't plan on doing that because he didn't want to be seen as using this for drama farming because it would start to make the movement look less of like a legitimate initiative and more of just like drama slop content type thing. But he finally starts talking about pirate software here because it's at the end of the life cycle of this initiative, and it's not looking promising, so he's willing to do anything to try and set the record straight and hopefully start getting more momentum back to the movement because the damage pirate software did to it through his video was substantial.
And I remember this video was actually one of the first points where Pirate Software's audience... I have that.
Oh, that is the person. Okay.
I have that. What the fuck? What the fuck? Bro, I have that same one.
Yes.
Holy fuck.
That's what she said.
I didn't even know that. Same room. Yeah, what the fuck?
Unfortunately, it's not a good, not a good
Damn.
way. But anyways,
Is he in your house? I guess so. I guess so. Okay, so anyway, I forgot even what I was saying. Oh, yeah. So this video was very polarizing with Pirate Software's audience. And it was one of the big points where, like, I mean, now people don't like Thor. But, like, back then, people were very positive about him. And that video was one of the first points of difference that he had with his audience. You guys remember this?
Not understand what Stop Killing Games is. Here it is in his words.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
So for those who don't understand, the Stop Killing Games
Hope everyone's doing well tonight.
initiatives
SKG
is basically we don't want single-player games
No.
to have DRM that the developers can turn off and thus render the single-player games inactive anymore. This is what they want to change. They need to be specific that they're talking about.
What I'm going over is not just games. It's about movie stuff that we pay for. And even content that I've sold to people as well. Whether, before I used to do adult content or stories or other type of stuff. I used to do a lot of different type of video content, stories, stuff like that, and everything. And we pay for games, we pay for movies, we pay for anime, Japanese animation, and the thing is, we're always getting really fucked when we don't own what we pay for. Oh, that's good. That's good. But this is about really about consumers, how we've been getting screwed, and it really needs to stop. If we pay for something, then we should own it, and I believe that if you use other tools to make it your own, that includes movies from sites or games or whatever, to make it your own. It's not piracy. You own it. If you paid for it, you own it. That's my view. Which is, any other way is fraud to me.
Single-player games that do not need a server to support them.
No.
And as much as they want it to be about specifically games, where it is a single-player game that has always online functionality, it would impact every live service game that exists. Instead of just targeting single-player, always online games.
No, that's not what it is.
No.
Stop Killing Games includes single-player games, but nothing about it is specific to them. He completely made that up, and I have no idea where he got that impression. It's the first line on the website. Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to customers. But the movement includes all this stuff from earlier, and he was mostly talking about the initiative.
Yes.
He didn't even get the Cliff Notes summary right.
Didn't
Ross
get
is
Cliff
correct.
Notes.
This has nothing to do with just single-player only games
It's also
that
multiplayer.
require an online
Sure.
connection, that when the online connection is severed, you lose access to the game. They need to be more specific in their language about it being
Yeah.
single-player, always online connectivity games. When that's just not what it's about. Like, they're not being specific about that because that is not what they are specifically targeting.
It's the most
It is
clear-cut
about the whole
case, but
practice
yeah.
of destroying games
I
that consumers
really
have.
honestly think that this should not be just about games. This is about what we buy, period. Yeah. Let's see here. Right. But this is, about what we pay for. Whether it's games, movies. I mean, they're making this really, this about just games and everything. And it should be about everything that we buy, not just games, but movies and other types of content. And when we buy something, we don't buy it just, in case we have an internet connection, or just, because we're subscribed to a streaming service. When we buy in premium, whether it's $59, $69.99 out of premium, all right? As long as it's not subscription, that is paying for ownership of the game, and it's not that way, or movies as well. Oh, there is? Sorry about that. Slide echo. Yeah, I mean, my place here, it has a little bit of an echo. I apologize about that. It was too much. I can restart some stuff. But slide echo isn't bad, tell me. But it's about when we pay for content, whether it be video games, movies, or animation, etc. It should be about everything that we pay for that we should be able to own, and not the company.
Have already purchased and having no end-of-life plans for games that are being sunset. So, for example, The Crew. The Crew is an example everyone is going to reference and talk about because Ubisoft is still currently in a lawsuit battling against it for what happened with this game.
Yes.
I've yapped about it quite a bit, so I'm not just going to regurgitate that. I'm sure a lot of you already know the story about it. But basically, you buy The Crew, Ubisoft pulls the plug on the servers, you can't play The Crew anymore, now it's just an old wet dream of what once was. And they are facing a lawsuit, and while this is in the umbrella of Stop Killing Games, it is not the only thing Stop Killing Games is referencing when it comes to this practice. Pirate Software is so hung up on it being single-player games that people lose access to.
It should be
when
all
that is a
types of
component of
different
it,
content,
but
not
not
just games.
the entire focus.
Yeah, of course, right? I mean, obviously, that's it.
Well, the short version is the initiative is about requiring publishers to have end-of-life plans for games they've sold to customers in the future. So when they shut them down, customers can continue running them without their support. So that's one thing.
And this is something that affects online games and also offline games. Or single-player games.
Thor doesn't understand.
Yeah.
But he also seems to think this is about converting multiplayer games to single-player.
Transitioning an entire multiplayer server-side game into a single-player video game, which means rebalancing the entire experience around single-player, rebuilding everything in the entire game. How are you going to do that with Final Fantasy XIV? You're just going to make all the raids soloable? Imagine the day that World of Warcraft shuts down, and suddenly you have to make it a single-player game for every individual that ever bought the game. That's what they're asking for.
No.
Because they would have to sunset live service games as a single-player experience. The idea that suddenly you need to make...
I don't think that it was ever stated that it needed to be sunset as a single-player experience. I don't think anybody ever said that. I mean, again, like the publisher maintaining the server seems like that would be like a logical question that you would ask. But making every game single-player, I don't really see why you'd need to think about that, considering there's so many locally run servers for all kinds of games, including WoW.
Every single live service game playable single-player offline? No, dude.
Correct. No.
It was implied.
This part is more confusing than Finnegan's Wake, because nowhere in anything on Stop Killing Games has this even been like a talking point from anyone besides Pirate Software. I don't know where he pieced this puzzle together. Like I don't get it. Like if I'm gonna try and like really reach here and give like a charitable explanation for this take, maybe he's extrapolating based on the idea that if publishers have to have end-of-life plans for their games, that includes MMOs, where once the game is getting sunset, you're pulling the plug on it.
Yeah, that's
you would
what
then
he
need
means.
to turn the game over to the community
Again,
in a
this
playable
should be
state.
about
Sure,
just
state.
this should be about a bigger picture. This is a much bigger picture. You know, we buy stuff from Amazon as well, movies. I do. I don't know about anybody else here, but I do. No, not IP wars. No, we're not. Games we're talking about. Movies and what we buy. You know, we should own. We pay money for stuff like, you know, whether it be games, you know, or movies, or you know, just a lot of different types of content. As long as we're paying the full price, we should own that. It should not be, you know, just based on internet connections, whether we own it or not, or if we're subscribed to a provider, you know, subscription service. If we're paying full price for a movie, you know, say $19.99, $9.99, or full price for a game, we should be owning that, you know. So, and that's not the way it really is. Unless you go through GOG, G-O-G, for games, stuff like that. But there should be a much broader picture. They should, you know, we should be fighting for.
I give the code to them, thus it'd turn it into a single-player experience, so the onus would be on the developers to rebalance their game to be a single-player experience for them? I guess. I have no idea. That still just doesn't make it...
I think also another reason why that discussion was happening is that a lot of the conversation around the Stop Killing Games devolved into single-player versus multiplayer and who can host servers and how. Like, it wasn't actually in the initiative, but after the initiative was presented, people were talking about those topics.
Any sense, but maybe that's the tree he's barking up with that thought process. I really don't know, because Stop Killing Games at no point ever says any of these multiplayer games need to be converted to single player.
Yeah, nobody said that.
That really is outlandish. And the more I think about it, like, the more nonsensical it becomes, because even in Pirate Software's hypothetical fanfic there, why would the developers need to rebalance the game? They would just turn over the code to the community and just it'd be in that state. They're no longer responsible for balancing the game. That's the whole point. They're not indefinitely supporting it. They would just be responsible of leaving the game in an accessible state to the community while they would shut down the servers on their end. Like, they wouldn't need to go back through with a whole development team and, like, you know, tweak the game to be single-player compatible. It just doesn't make sense.
Well,
like,
if the thing is, if you had a community server, then the community server could do that themselves. Like, you have all kinds of, like, WoW private servers that have solo raids and all kinds of weird bullshit in them now. So, really, it's not something that the developer would really need to do. Because as long as people were able to host and run their own servers, this could be done by the community for the community.
I really do not understand that one. But apparently a lot of people latched onto that talking point from Pirate Software as something that Stop Killing Games was asking for and how unreasonable it was. Which, if that's what Stop Killing Games was asking for, it would be unreasonable.
Yeah.
But that's not what it's asking for.
Nowhere in there does it say that it's directly targeting always online single-player games.
Oh, he's so close. He's so close to getting it.
It is vague, and because of that, it will impact.
Uh-oh.
He never has that light bulb moment. Well, he is correct in that statement. It's almost as if that's not what the initiative is asking for.
I know this part is
and this was an outcome of the dialogue around it whenever it came out. Because, like, whenever this video came out, I watched the same video myself, and a lot of people were drawing a distinction between how would this apply to single-player games versus multiplayer games. I think that's probably why he was talking about it, but, like, Ross is right that it applies to all games. And it was a dichotomy that was never actually... It was created by the community and not by the actual initiative, if that makes sense. So there was a community conversation about that difference, but the initiative never stated or explained the difference themselves.
And just reinforcing that he doesn't know what the Stop Killing Games movement is about. But I have to just show you this because it is so fascinating, because he himself literally calls out that Stop Killing Games at no point explicitly mentions single-player always-online games or anything like that. And for some reason, instead of following the breadcrumbs that would naturally lead him to the conclusion of, oh, maybe I misunderstood, maybe, because it's absent here, that's not what this is actually about. Instead, he uses it as a criticism against the Stop Killing Games initiative entirely, saying it's just too vague, it's way too vague. The reason it is not explicitly stated there is because that is not what the whole initiative is about. It is not specific.
Well, it's also because an initiative like that that is legally defined by a governing body. Like, basically, we're not, like, this initiative is not legal text. The initiative is something that we are effectively trying to communicate to developers, to the government, in order for them to translate this initiative into legal text.
Right.
And so it's really not about the specific wording, it's about what the essence of the wording is and what the goal is what the goal they're trying to achieve is.
I think I'll actually stop this right here because this should be about the much bigger picture. I wish they would think much bigger about what, not just games and stuff like that, but it's about us paying for movies and videos online, and that we should own those as well, and everything, and we should have to have an internet connection and everything for it. So let me see. Oh, here. Is he? Let me see what it says here. What is this? Yeah, I might get some technical stuff if I can continue with this, because I have saying the same things over and over.
About the business practice it's trying to defeat, which is specifically companies that are doing this under the guise of it being a single-player game, but adding online-only functionality that is not necessary and doesn't add any gameplay elements. That's the problem.
No, that's not it at all.
This is a really strong section from Ross here, because the clips that you saw moments ago were from his stream. When he took...
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's a component to it, but it's not the entire thing. I mean, again, like, there's there would be, like, for example, the way that you would run a single-player game would be different than the way that you would run a multiplayer game. Like, for example...
Like, they're talking about something else. Yeah, it is way behind with laws not... this is what they hate about. I'm not politically on one side or the other. I hate both sides usually. But I don't like how they're not into protecting the people so much as them furthering their own agendas and stuff like that. The party's will, I should say. And not protecting the consumer. Like I said, we're at least 6 years behind with the stuff that's going on where our companies are saying, F you. Just because you pay for something doesn't mean it's yours. Just because you buy something doesn't mean it's yours. And it does. Otherwise, we shouldn't have to pay a full price for it. Whether it's games, whether it's movies or animation, Japanese animation, etc., or other types of content. If we buy something full price, then it should be for ownership and everything. So, anyways, I want to get on here with, let's see I'm not on much about some of this.
President Trump participates in one big, beautiful...
I mean, there's stuff that I don't like about this bill, but I want to see if there's any news on this, because I was looking stuff up for over an hour and a half on this so-called big, beautiful bill, and there's stuff that I'm not so much a fan of. And that the biggest one is where people have to work in their 60s for Social Security. And that's not right, in my opinion. I think that we work so long through our lives and everything that there is a cutoff where people stop hiring people. There is an age. And usually that's, mid-30s to, the 40s, stuff like that. Because people, they don't want a man or woman that's not as slow when you hire somebody. You want a young person that can, think fast, move fast, and everything else. And with the big, beautiful bill, there's a lot of stuff that I do not like about that part where you have to keep going in your 60s. And I mean, lawmakers, they don't have a normal job. They don't. And they're paid to just do whatever and not do other types of work that normal Americans have to do. So for them, they don't put themselves, they're not in other people's shoes where there's cut off. Right, that's true. It's like a house, you can buy one, pay it off. And if you don't keep paying taxes on it, yeah, it is it? And the thing is, there was a time when we didn't pay taxes until the Civil War. Until after the Civil War, after that, where, they had, taxes because of the war, and then they said, just be for a while, and then it just got worse, and then the states brought in state taxes and everything like that. And the founders, let's just say, they're rolling their graves all the time about how much we pay in state taxes. There would have been another revolution, entirely just for that, so.
Event.
Thank you very much.
So what the hell is this?
Thank you all for being here to support one of the most important pieces of legislation in the history of our country.
What?
And that's
Are they going to ban
everybody saying
furries?
that. Virtually everybody. The one big, beautiful bill to secure our borders, turbocharge our economy,
Wait, he's just
bring
gonna
back the American dream. That's what's happening too.
He's just going to do it?
Met with tremendous approval and reception.
Oh.
And when we were thinking about doing it, we were going to break it down into
Again,
three.
disclaimer, I'm not for any political side. I voted for Trump because of a few things, but other stuff I don't like him on. Okay? I'm not for any political side. It's just, that's just anyways.
4, 5, 6, or even 7 bills.
It's a lot.
And I said, let's make it one big, beautiful bill, Mike, right?
Yeah? Great.
They actually said it would be very much harder to get this way, but it would be better. And the truth is, I think it worked out well because there's something.
One big reason I'm not any political sides because I know politicians personally on both sides, and they are bad. So there's a lot of stuff with Dodge and everything like that. Yeah, there's plenty of criticism on both sides that I don't like and everything, and sometimes both sides can do some good things, but it's like they just don't care about the people so much. Care for but anyways.
For everybody, and I think in many ways much better. We're delighted to be joined by Secretaries Marco Rubio, Scott Bessent, Pete Hegseth, Doug Burgum, Doug Collins, Sean Duffy, Howard Lutnick, Linda McMahon, Brooke Rollins, Scott Turner, Chris Wright. Wow, that's a hell of a group. I think that's the biggest group of cabinet members.
Yeah?
That's the biggest group of cabinet, and we're not finished yet because we have our great Attorney General Pam Bondi here.
So
what to have everybody here for?
U.S.
Let's go back
Trade
to
representative, and he's working around 24 hours. We have them one after another. Countries come. Everybody wants to be with us because we have the hottest country in the world. A year ago, we had
What about
we had
Africa?
A disaster on our hand. We had the coldest country.
Like, that's
I
just
think,
hot
by
as
far.
fuck.
And now we have the hottest. The King of Saudi Arabia, when I was there, we brought back $5.1 trillion between Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and UAE.
Damn.
And all three said, great leaders, they all said to me the same thing.
What'd they say?
You know, it's amazing. In 4 months at that time, now it's getting to be close to 6. But in 4 months, they said, you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. It's not even close. And they thought we were dead a year before that. They said, I thought you were dead. The country was dead. And it was pretty close to it, but we have the hottest country in the world.
What do you mean by that?
Representative Jameson Greer is very busy. Jameson. Everybody wants to make a deal and have a part of it, right? I know. You and Howard and Scott are working overtime.
Well, Europe, though.
We're not going to get to the point.
Remember a few months ago, the press was saying, do you really have anybody of any interest? Well, we just signed with China yesterday, right? Just signed with China. We have
that's nice.
Everybody. We're not going to make deals with everybody. Some we're just going to send them a letter, say thank you very much. You're going to pay 25, 35, 45%. That's the easy way to do it. And my people don't want to do it that way. They want to do some of it, but they want to make more deals than I would do. But we're having some great deals. We have one coming up, maybe with India, very big one.
What about
we're going to open up India. In the China deal, we're starting to open up China. Things that never really could have happened. And the relationship with every country has been very good. And we also have OMB director who's very busy also, Russ Vogt. Thank you. Thank you, Russ.
I want to get to the real stuff here.
And also, I want to give a very special thank you. This is a hell of a group we have here. This is amazing. The quality of people, but actually I like these people.
This keeps up. I have to pay people to subscribe to me.
Okay.
Guys, I don't see a teleprompter.
But a very special
anywhere.
thanks as well to Speaker Mike Johnson, who's a great, legendary guy. He's going to go down as a legend.
Oh, shit.
Exactly.
Uh-oh.
A great friend of mine, a fantastic Senator Roger Marshall, wherever you may be. Roger, thank you very much.
They're going to have to stay there for an hour.
Bernie Marino, great win Bernie had in Ohio. Bernie, great win. That was a tough race.
Fast forward this.
They said that was not winnable, and he won by
person in this country along with the FBI. With more money, we can arrest more of these people, make this country safer. There's a nonpartisan issue. Let's make this country
it's
safe
not.
again.
Yes.
So to the Democrats and the Republicans and the Independents, I don't care who you're from, pass the bill so we make this country safe, so we can stop the violence against ICE officers. Let's make this country safe again. And without
I
that
actually
bill,
voted for Trump because of this thing. Because of illegals and how Americans really got shafted. And everything. How illegals are getting free, this free rent, they're getting, free health care. And people like me that are lower income and stuff like that. We see, illegals where they're getting all stuff free, and veterans on the streets, not getting housed and stuff like that and everything. It was a huge thing with me that I did that really pissed me off, and they didn't have enough money for hurricane victims, but they gave it all to illegals. And they wanted illegals to come in. I've seen human sex trafficking happen. I've done reports on illegal immigration along with other people. 500,000 kids missing. Not 350,000, about 500,000. And you don't know who their parents really are. You don't know. It's like my ancestors came here through a legal process, a vetting process. I also am related to tribal, nation and stuff like that. I don't know which one is back east and everything. So that's a bit different. Drugs, I see fentanyl here. I see drugs just totally destroy things. I'm around here, LA County myself. I have seen how bad things have gotten. So that's my biggest reason why I vote for it. I vote for Democrats too in this state because I don't like the extremism of both sides, and I don't want one side to have too much power over the other. I believe there should be a balance so they can't, but it's crazy how both sides are these days. They just don't care as much about the people. But
it's going to be a hard road. We got a lot of people to look for, a lot of people to arrest, a lot of national security threats we know are in this country.
We need to
find
out.
We need more money to do that. We need more agents to do that. For God's sake, let's pass this bill and get this done.
That's pretty good. That was all right. When you start arresting business owners for hiring illegals, I completely agree with you, by the way. 100%.
He got so angry he didn't even shake my hand.
This is another thing I did reports on Tyson Foods and our food companies. Just, they kicked out. Yeah, I mean, back in my day, family could sit together if we had political differences, right? There wasn't the extremism of politics that there is today. It's just both sides just want to kill each other. And if you're not on this side, we hate you, we want you dead. I hate that. That doesn't help anybody whatsoever. And I don't like our side. Like I said, I know politicians personally. I know politicians say, hey, I could kill somebody, get away with it. And they can. They could. And I know a lot of criminal stuff politicians do behind closed doors. And it doesn't matter what side either. It doesn't matter if Democrat, Republican, or whatever. It's just we have a lot of extremists and criminals running the government. And they're not caring as much for the people, trying to, get along either. They just want to blame the other side. That's all they do, is blame the other side instead of trying to come to a mutual understanding. We all want good health care. We want to have good jobs, and we want good retirement and everything. This is what we, the people, Americans, need and want. and we should come together with commonalities instead of, try, say, if you're this kind of person, this side, you should be put to death or whatever. I don't like that. How it is nowadays. I just don't. It's terrible how bad it has gotten, So.
And to look at me, just.
Okay. Okay.
But he's right. He's right. And we have no money for the border if we don't pass this bill. We have virtually nothing. And so we're going to get it done for you, Tom, and for all of the people that are working.
Some of the Navajo that I know of, they're talking about how all the girls, all these women have come up missing in some of these, tribal areas. It's not safe for them to go out because of, cartels and illegals and, trafficking. And I did a video on this from the Navajo Nation, right? This happened in other tribal nations, and it's a lot easier because it doesn't get reported everywhere with tribal nations. They got their own police and stuff like that, right? And so all these crimes, including other areas, they don't report all the illegal immigrant crimes and stuff. And they say, crime is falling, crime is falling. It hasn't gotten worse. It's just they don't report it. And you got Aurora, Colorado, where you have councilmen, council members, stuff like that making money off this. Yeah.
With you, it's been amazing the job you've done.
Content president,
just in
that's
finishing,
right.
Look, this is the largest tax cut in the history of our country. They want to give you, the Democrats want to give you the biggest tax increase in the history of our country. They have things, whether it's border or economic development or no tax on tips and Social Security and no tax on overtime, all these different things. There are hundreds of things here. It's so good. And we're going to also cut costs. We're cutting $1.7 trillion in this bill.
What the fuck?
And you're not going to feel any of it. And your Medicaid is left alone. It's left the same. Your Medicare and your Social Security are strengthened. We're not cutting. The Democrats are going to destroy all three of them because it's not sustainable. They'll end up cutting your Medicare.
Why do you have to go after Democrats like that? That's not going to help you sell your bill. This is both sides I don't like. They blame the other. And it's like, instead of trying to come together for a common cause stuff, they just have to do this. It's like, I think this is one thing that Trump made worse, is that he constantly attacked and ripped the other side. And I think one reason, the biggest reason why he does it is because he used to be a Democrat. He wanted to run on the Democrat ticket, even. And then Hillary ran and he couldn't do that. And Democrats and his friends, Democratic Party turned on him. So, yeah, there's a lot of tribal nations that have suffered from illegals and drugs crossing over and girls disappearing, women disappearing. And drugs, and to hear them talk about that, and some of the tribal nation leaders, not want to do anything about it and say that's just, part of the way that civilization is, how civilizations rise and fall. That actually pissed me off a lot because they're not helping if they don't want to close things off. But that's it. I know I want to protect my people, but let me see. I didn't get to real news here because he talks too much and doesn't get to the point. And I want real stuff if possible. You can't trust our leader.
beautiful bill and Congress sends it to my desk.
Right. He is, yeah, because that's his. You're right, yeah. Let's see here. I want to.
Big, beautiful bill and Congress sends it to my desk.
Okay, we're giving the acts. Multiple measures, limited environmental regulations. That was cut off, including effort to repeal EPA. And I tried to look up on the internet other stuff, but it was just taking too long. We proposed to sell millions of acres of public lands. Was also cut. On immigration, a restriction on grant funds was cut. This is what I think should not have been cut. I believe that you should earn it. I mean, our ancestors, we get anything for free. There's no EBT, there's no Social Security, there's no Medi-Cal, Medicaid services. And I don't think that non-citizens should be getting that. I think that's why there's rioting in these cities, because they're getting cut. You got people that feel entitled. They feel like they're owed this stuff and they're not. Yeah, I'm not, I don't like anybody exactly starving either, but I don't like, what I believe is that if your country, I believe that they should not be going to our country and having our own people starve. And where they're taking our resources, they're taking our health care and stuff like that. They don't have any business, no right to come here and ask for handouts and stuff like that. I don't like people, be honest. If I see somebody starving on the street, I've given actually people food. I've given some people food. Alright? I live by a lot of homeless. I'm around a lot of homeless people, etc. And I'm not going to discriminate. Alright? That's just me. But it really pisses me off in some others, where people come from hundreds of thousands or millions of people come here, and they get, stuff for free, where our ancestors and the rest of us, we have to, earn it and stuff like that. Yeah, government doesn't care about wasting money. That is true. Wasting money food for people is a low priority. Yeah, I mean, that is true, yeah. Let's see, go back. How do you go back and just let this play on? Also rejected the proposal elimination of funds for Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. That's something I'd have to look up on more. Non-partisan position that there's advice about Senate rules. Made the cuts. Let's see. Don't want to give advice about what kind of advice? The bird roar. Okay. Think that'd be the Ways and Means Committee or something. So let's see, we'll produce non-budgetary items and proposals that circumvent the legislative process. Keep making cuts. Chiefs of broad borders not. Okay. I think that, let me see. That's Medicare. That's that. Let's see. This is something that I want to see this here. This is 9 hours ago. That looks like a SpaceX type thing that's coming back. But this is in Boston. Yeah, there it is right there. It looks like there's 3 different. There it is right there. This one looks like it's another energy source. 3 energy sources right here. And this one that seems like to be keeping it from totally just going down and blowing up. Calling the Corbin. Right, yeah, Ways and Means, yeah. Right. One is searching for answers after she captured a video of an unidentified object found from the sky in Pembroke. It's a Lexus. That's not a helicopter. That's not a helicopter. The spaceship coming to pick up John O'Keefe's old girl. Life flight helicopter fucking retards. Is it possible? It doesn't look like a helicopter to me. It does not. Because it's going down. Helicopters cannot do that, and it has blades. Helicopters have blades, you moron. Let's look at this again. That is not a helicopter. I've never seen a helicopter like that. Unless the camera's not showing something. I've been around too many helicopters. That's fast. That's not right. That's not life flight. Yeah, because it's like this. The helicopters can go down like this. It can only go down so much like that. Anyways, let's see. I want to see some. Let's see here. This is what I've seen over and over. This one. Not myself, not personally, but I keep seeing this one. Oh, that's a star. I thought this is actually a UFO here. Okay. The star Sirius. Let's see. Wow. What a sexy looking star. Beautiful, gorgeous. Wow. Gorgeous. Yeah, this is from tribal areas here, I believe. It's like, I believe this is. This stuff that is not shown on mainstream media here. Oh yeah, we are, right? It's like a plasma donut. It does, don't it? It's gorgeous. It is freaking gorgeous. I wish we would just go there and just see those things. Let's see. Let's see if Grok has it right or not. The cave painting is most likely located in Adamgar group of rock shelters in Hoshangabad, Madhya Pradesh, India. India, known for prehistoric art dating back 10,000 years. Some interpret the humanoid figures depicted. Yeah, they are. Okay, so what a bunch of idiots. Cultural, spiritual symbols from ancient. Those are definitely ETs. That's from India, huh? Those are ETs. The thing is, what is that? Also is like a mind's eye. Also is like a mind's eye on that. Let's see that go back. Yeah. That could be AI easily. Let's see, did I tell you for Uruguay? This real flying saucer was filmed. No one has managed to debunk this video. Yeah, I've heard of Linga. I don't remember exactly what it entails, but yeah, I have. Linga. Hinduism. What is this? Hindu temples, Shiva, smaller shrines, or self-manifest. Think of a symbol associated with Lord Shiva. Is typically oval cylindrical shape. Yes. The Shiva Linga or Lingam is a symbol that represents Lord Shiva in Hinduism. Lord Shiva is considered one of the most powerful gods, right? In temples dedicated to and contains a Shiva Linga, which serves as a focal point of worship and represents all energies in the world and beyond. The popular belief that the Shiva Linga represents the phallus, the emblem of the generative power in nature. According to followers of Hinduism. Their teachers have taught that this is not only distinct but also grave blunder. Let's see, the Sanskrit legally means a mark or so plus it interferes this. I think I went on the wrong side that you like. So Liga, alright, yeah, let's. Alright, so. Okay, so. I hate that where it just goes blue, the whole thing then. Oh yeah? Okay, it's devoid of smell, color, taste, spoken, the prakriti, nature itself. Purusha, the male and female powers, nature also signifies Satya, Jalana, and Ananta, for truth, knowledge, and infinity. Church use being special and divine. I'll have to leave that later, so let's see here. Uruguay. Let's see here. I want to get the bigger picture here. That's the power source right there. I can see the power source right here. I recognize that. That's the window. Obviously, that's the window right here. That's the anti-gravity right there. I see that. Looks like it just move it. Hey, wait a second. Do you see this moving right here? Yeah. Let's see. Hold on. Looks like maybe two. Let's see here. Hold on. Yeah, it is moving it. Yeah, there's one and there's two. Yeah. And there's a window right there. Or is decommission? I've seen this before. I've had fireballs around here a couple times. It's very fucking trippy. Unless someone else saw it with me, it's like no one would believe it. It's just like one of those mirrors just pops right in front of us. It is fucking trippy. And the stuff that I can see in my experiences that happen sometimes is goodbye OnlyFans. Hello. Sorry, boss. This is for guys that no longer want a relationship and don't want to pay money for OnlyFans. I guess. I don't. This is Japan. I know Japan. This is definitely Japan. Oh my god. Japanese. Yeah, those are Japanese symbols right there. Yeah. Let's see. June 26th. Let me see. That really happened or not? Well, so most stuff you don't know what's real or not because there's AI. In the old days, I mean, it'd be easier to discern. So Statue of Cyrus. I've seen that. I've seen this happen in other shops. I've actually seen apparitions, ghosts, and stuff like that. This before AI, by the way, but it's a closed circuit. Russian cosmonaut Victor Afanasyev revealed he saw massive metallic UFO in orbit in 1970. They shut those guys up. Those guys, some of those guys are either dead or they...
narrow here and wider here.
This is the thing. Some of these guys were put in a gulag or they were killed. Because over there in the Soviet Union, it's even worse. So... Yeah, you can say that. Transhumanist, new bodies, yeah. Well, it'd be easier to interchange, I guess, with those bots. You can switch back and forth. I don't know. You have to go surgery anymore. You're a bot. So let's see.
Followed us during half of our orbit. We observed it on the light side, and when we entered the shadow side, it disappeared completely. It was an engineering structure made from some...
This had to have been before Putin. Because back then, I remember there was a time when Russians could freely talk about this a lot more. Glasnost and stuff like that. There was all these KGB files that were let out, declassified on UFOs and everything. And it was a great period in time, the mid-90s and stuff, early 2000s and stuff. And then Putin came in and he wanted to keep a lot of that secret again. But let's see.
Type of metal, approximately 40 meters long with inner holes. The object was narrow here and wider here, and inside there were openings. Some places had projections like small wings. The object stayed very close to us. We photographed it, and our photos showed it to be 23 to 28 meters away. It is still classified as a UFO. It followed us during half of our orbit. We observed it on the light side, and when we entered the shadow side, it disappeared completely. It was an engineering structure made from some type of metal, approximately 40 meters long with inner holes. The object was narrow here and wider here, and inside there were openings. Some places had projections like small wings. The object stayed very close to us. We photographed it, and our photos showed it to be 23 to 28 meters away. It is still classified as a UFO.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see here. Canada. Let's see.
Something happened over there. There was indeed Teresa. Oh. What's that? Oh.
Godzilla's anorexic sister. I don't know.
Something happened over there. There was indeed Teresa. Oh. What's that?
Wow. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. I need to drop the audio. Easter Island. I've read stuff on Easter Island. I'm totally convinced that those were made because of ETs. I'm totally convinced that they're there looking at the star people. God, that's a gorgeous shot. Oh, we got vehicles that can go to these places. I mean, damn. God, it's gorgeous. Also, underrated scene, close encounters, third kind. Pilots and soldiers from World War II. The first exit the UFO, they have aged off. Yeah. Alien scarecrows? Hey, as big as they are, a lot of farmers would pay for that. Big bucks, millions. And Paul Bunyan? Hey, you never know. Oh man, I heard Paul Bunyan since I was a kid. He had that folklore song, Paul Bunyan. Chopped those trees down and everything. Boy. Maybe it's a tree running away from Paul Bunyan. You know? Didn't want to get the axe. Didn't want to get chopped down. Just ran. Hey. Let's play best. Whatever. Ah, yes. This is some stuff that I've seen. Wow. Especially the UFO. Wow, beautiful, gorgeous. You can see time dilation and stuff like that. Let's see here. Let's see. Atmospheric effects and everything. That's where UFO and UAP would go together. Wow. Oh, slipstream. Went through a slipstream. Hey, all I'm saying is if I was a big tree like that, I'd be right for Paul Bunyan too. I think we all would. We're like, hell no, you ain't chopping me down. Hell no. I'm running my ass. I don't care if people see me or not. I'm living. Right, what's this? Let's see. Someone found giant wall in the middle of the Boreal Forest, Taiga, Russia. Giant wall?
Решил прогуляться по территории. Посмотрите, какой забор. Вот это забор. Я просто в ахуе. Сейчас покажу еще.
I'd have to do some research on this. Wow. That's pure, like, liquid black.
Привет, парни, я тут в шоке. Решил прогуляться по территории.
I shouldn't look, but I'll buy and see what the people said. Nobody cares, trust me. Yeah, I should have looked there, yeah. But people say, jeez, there's phenomenon Naples. I think that'd be gas. I think this would be natural gas. I mean, with all the volcanic activity and everything and thermal pools underneath Italy, I think that's a byproduct of that, of gas. Ross Coulthard. Yeah, that's, let's see, 10,000-year-old rock paintings depicting aliens. found in. Is that India too? Is this India or? By what's this? It looks like. Let me see here. That is definitely ET. I guess there was a lot of interstellar visitations, interactions. Yeah, there was. 6,000. Yeah, this has to be India or Pakistan, somewhere around there. Let's see. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist or happen. Lots of civilizations we have. They had to put a sexy lady on there. Yep. In 1972, 5 boys in rice fields in Kyoto, Japan. I have not heard of this. There's a saucer thing. That's probably why I hear it, because it wasn't real. Let's see, wait. Hey, wait. It was? Let's see here. Let's see here. God. Try to highlight it here. 1972, 5 boys in the rice fields in Kyoto, Japan. Didn't just see a UFO, they actually captured one. The craft was the size of the head, about 6 inches wide, buzzing, glowing, and actively resisting containment. The kids chased it, photographed it, and even held it in their hands. I mean, usually if you risk radioactive contamination. You get cancer from that. That's not something that's very advisable. But let's see. Let's see. The kids chased it, photographed it, and held in their hands when they poured water onto its etched vents. It whirred like a swarm of cicadas or some kind of bug, and lit up. Inside they found circuitry components. It was some kind of machine, and it kept escaping them, disappearing, literally vanishing from sealed containers that the place captured it in, like it teleported. Another case of interacting with kids who had no motive to fabricate something that is specifically consistent. Over 30 years later, the Japan Space Phenomena Society tracked them down as adults. Their stories were unchanged. Some details, same details, same craft. And remember, this happened in the early 70s. No internet, no viral clout, no incentive. They'd be mocked and ridiculed. If anything, they'd be made fun of. Yeah. Just something intelligent, loud, and real refused to be contained, disappeared from. So he believes that the moon was brought here 12,000 years ago. Alright. Well, here's this. I remember this. This is South America here, I believe, or is it Vietnam? Let's see. They don't have that noise so clear. What do you guys think? Could be real. Could be it's not. Let's see here. It's tied underneath to a helicopter. But no, a helicopter, no, it's not. It's not. A helicopter, if that was tied underneath a helicopter, it wouldn't be able to do that. It would be able to move back, forth, and down, zigzag. It wouldn't be able to do that. There's no. The trees. Jeez, I keep singing that stupid sound. The trees and everything around here, if there's rotorcraft, it'd be blowing the shrubs around. There's a helicopter, all the leaves, the shrubbery would be blowing everywhere. So, yeah, not a helicopter. The helicopter's not doing that. It's not tied to a helicopter. No, it's not. No, it's not. Yeah, sound is BS. Yeah. Usually, I mean, if anything, they have a humming noise. Some stuff I've heard, yeah. Usually that, I mean, if they're making noise, usually it's a humming noise, a high vibrational sound. Yeah, sound is bullshit, it is. Those Columbia, oh, these fell down, I would say either South America or Asia. Reminds me of the one in Vietnam. Alright. It looks like it's putting on a show. It looks like it's actually putting on a show. That's what it looks like. It's like it's putting on a demonstration. There's a UFO. Let's see.
No, it's like a freestanding camera. It's like taking flash pictures. There's an airplane about to go over it.
FAA license, but they're not exactly FAA with that. Yeah. But there is FAA. This is the thing, is that UFOs can make themselves look like drones. They can do that. I say this is one of them, whether it's government or if it's ET, that's a different thing. Whether it's ours or theirs, that's a different thing. But that's what it looks like they're doing. Morphing back and forth from UFO to drone or whatever, so. This, let's see. We'll see UFO. This. That looks real right there, yeah. Right. Ramstein. Or that. Let's see. Sea monster found on beach, Pacific Northwest. That was just me when I get overweight. That's nothing new. People see me when I get overweight over there all the time. That's nothing new. They don't need to put that on Twitter. Anyways, let's move on. Alright. I want to go over some of this here. Everybody has their opinions about Louis Elizondo and everything. But let's see, we are not alone. Louis Elizondo on Real UFO Counter Secrets. PBD shout out, PBD podcast. They're doing this. People have different opinions about it, and there's stuff you can't talk about. People don't understand that, but there's stuff that you can't, and others can't talk about different things, but that's just the way this whistleblower thing went. So let's go.
It's a real national security issue here. So they made it very clear to me that I have to be very careful not to talk about something that I'm not allowed to talk about. You know, let me give you a little piece of advice here. Don't let your analytic bias get the best of you, because what you're going to learn may challenge any preconceived notions or narratives that you have. The American population absolutely cannot have this discussion. They cannot handle the truth. It will cause people to lose faith in their religions, their faith and confidence in government. It was basically a definitive no. But I left the...
We're all wondering.
Population absolutely cannot have this discussion. They cannot handle the truth. It will cause...
This right here. I've seen this so many times. And this plane disappeared. Maybe it's 370 or something like that. I don't know, but it is totally enveloped that plane. It disappears.
People to lose faith in their religions, their faith and confidence in government. It was basically a definitive no. But I left the Pentagon after that. I left. I resigned. I believe Americans can handle the truth, because we're having a conversation now, you and me. Some of these vehicles have come so close to a combat formation that they've actually split the air formation right down the middle.
You've personally witnessed it. You've seen it right in front of you.
I've held it in my hand, material.
Okay, Stephen Greer. What are your thoughts on Stephen Greer?
When anybody gets up there and says, believe only me, that's a problem.
That is a problem.
This is the true dominant life form that's been on this planet all along. And we just discovered it 120 years ago. So is it possible that...
I've said it, Stephen Greer, about how he says that ETs are all good. There's not any bad ones, or else they're just bots. That's not true. I mean, some are bots, some of their AI. Yeah, definitely. But I don't like it where Stephen Greer is like, you know, I'm the way, I'm the liar, whatever. Just and some people, whistleblowers, decide not to use Stephen Greer because he wants his agenda. He wants people to follow him and do what he wants. He has an agenda to push. So. Yeah, it does seem like that. It does. It does seem that way with the drives. Yeah.
These friends from out of town, these UAP, are just as natural to Earth as we are. We know more about the surface of the moon than we know about our own oceans. Yeah. Is it possible these things could be coming from underneath the oceans? Yes, that's possible too. Former President Donald Trump saying, for the record, if he were to get elected, he would actually consider releasing the UFO files.
But I had people come to me and beg me not to do it. But I'll be doing that very early.
I mean, obviously, this is 9 months ago. I should put that out. I should probably fast forward, but obviously he didn't do that. And I know different reasons why he did decide not to. I know some of the reasons, so. But anyways.
CNN, you're on Fox, you're on this, you're on News Nation, you're on Rogan recently, you're all over the place. So we have a simple mission. That's what the mission is. You got a book that just came out, Inside the Pentagon's Hunt for UFOs, Eminent. And for the audience that doesn't know you, first of all, I appreciate you for coming out and spending some time together.
Oh, my privilege. Thank you.
I have consumed so much of your content that I feel like I know you at this point from watching these interviews.
I'm so sorry.
But for the audience that doesn't know you, if you don't mind taking a minute or two and just kind of...
When somebody says, only believe me, only trust me, that's when I don't trust them. That's when I stop. And I go somewhere else. You know.
I give you a background, how you went about, and then what all of a sudden in 2008 when you got that call. Walk us through that.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I know Greer's, a lot of what he says is true. I know that. But there's a lot of stuff that he says is not true either.
So long story short, I grew up as a blue-collar kid in South Florida. After high school, I attended the University of Miami. I studied microbiology, immunology, and parasitology. Not not parapsychology, the study of parasites,
Just
so
like
microorganisms.
right.
And after that, I joined the Army and went into military intelligence and did some support to special operations. And
I don't know if anyone remembers the song in the old days. Really Army now, you'll never get rich. You're digging the ditch. You're in the Army now. You're in the Army now. You'll never get rich. Yeah.
Into a very specialized program within the government. It was a civilian program that's still basically like a civilian soldier, where I was a special agent and basically focused on national security crimes, so terrorism, espionage, things like that. Spent early part of my years in Latin America doing counterinsurgencies and counter-narcotics and things like that, and supporting some other three-letter agencies down there, counter-guerrilla operations. And then after 9/11, found myself over on the other side of the globe. Focused a lot of my efforts in places like Afghanistan and the Middle East, this time focusing on things like Hezbollah and other organizations, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and things like that.
How much experience do you have with them, with Hezbollah, with Al-Qaeda? How much interaction experience, like close up?
That was our job. We recruited sources. We were, using them as spies.
Okay, we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. That's good to
This
know.
is one thing about whether we know those sites in Iran, those nuclear sites, how badly damaged they are. We got some boots, we got spies on the ground. Mossad has that too. There's ways of knowing whether we got that stuff or not.
So, then probably after 4 or 5 of these trips over there, my wife finally said, "Look, I'm concerned you're not going to come back. You're really rolling the dice here, and you're taking a lot of chances." And so I came back, took a supervisory position, started running investigations back in Washington, D.C., and from there spent some time with other three-letter agencies and the Director of National Intelligence. And in 2008, I was asked to come back to the Pentagon. At the time, I was working over by the DNI, the Director of National Intelligence, which is somewhat close to CIA's headquarters, but the commute was killing me. And we raised our 2 daughters and our family on a little island called Kent Island in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay because I didn't want to raise them in a big urban area like D.C. So my commute was 3 hours each way. Wow. Sometimes it was not uncommon for me to spend more time in the car than I was at the office. So in 2008, I was asked to come back to the Pentagon and start a program to help integrate national level intelligence, with local law enforcement. After 9/11, we realized that we, as a national security apparatus, we weren't sharing threat-related information very well with local law enforcement. So my job was to fix that. And it was shortly thereafter that some people visited me in my office, and after several meetings, asked me to be part of their organization. Now, what that organization was at the time, I had no idea. But they were cleared. They had the blue IC badge like I had, and they had all the clearances. And finally, one day I met their boss, and that's when I learned about the U.S. government's UFO investigation. And by the way, we weren't the only show in town. There was a long history of the U.S. government being involved in investigating. We call them now UAP, but in the vernacular, it's UFOs.
Right.
Now, at the time, is that a publicly known organization, or it's underground that no one knows about?
It was not publicly known at all.
So you're talking about the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program? Is that the one?
Correct, ATIP. And in fact, there was a larger umbrella called OSAP, and then there was some evolution over time where the focus went from OSAP to really kind of more pinpoint focused, which was ATIP. So ATIP was looking pretty much at the nuts and bolts of UAP interactions with U.S. government assets. So think of military aircraft, military installations, other type of research centers that belong to the U.S. government, and how UAP were interacting in and around those areas.
Okay, so is this the one that Harry Reid raised $22 million to start? This is the one?
That's correct. That's correct.
So what prompted him to want to do this? Like, normally somebody doesn't just wake up and say, guys, we have to start this thing and I want to start recruiting certain people. Let's go raise $22 million to investigate what? What prompted his motive?
Right. So it wasn't just Harry Reid. A lot of people think this was some
Well,
sort of.
one thing is that Harry Reid knew about what happened with Randlesham Forest in the UK. He knew about that guy that had gotten full of cancer from his encounter with the UFO. There was an object. He got cancer, and their guy said he wanted him to get help. Along with, I believe also was it John McCain. I believe John McCain may have also as well. But Harry Reid was in on that. And he, definitely wanted to know more about UFOs, ET, stuff like that.
Wild goose chase by Senator Harry Reid. It wasn't. This was a bipartisan effort. It was also Senator Ted Stevens and from Alaska, who was a Republican, and Senator Inouye from Hawaii. And on top of that, you had also John Glenn as well, former astronaut John Glenn.
Hero.
And they all had their own experiences with UAP. So, for example, Stevens actually during war had seen a UAP, and also Harry Reid had indicated that he had several, if you will, run-ins with UAP himself when he was younger. And so,
when he got younger.
When he was younger.
You're not talking about the time he got a black eye. That wasn't a UAP. That's a different story.
That's, well, it probably felt like a UAP crashing
into.
Just
trying to make sure we don't want stories to be. Yeah. But go ahead.
And Senator Inouye from Hawaii. And on top of that, you had also John Glenn as well, former astronaut John Glenn. And they had their own experiences with UAP. So, for example, Stevens actually during war had seen a UAP, and also Harry Reid had indicated that he had several, if you will, run-ins with UAP himself when he was younger. And so,
when he got younger.
When he was younger.
You're not talking about the time he got a black eye. That wasn't a UAP. That's a different story.
That's it probably felt like a UAP crashing into him.
Just trying to make sure we don't want stories to be.
Yeah.
But go ahead. When he was younger.
Yeah, and so there's always been an interest by these individuals in Congress to get to the bottom of this. There was also a report which I heard directly from the former senator, where he was accidentally read onto the program at one point, to the ongoing government's UFO program, and he was so incensed that when they tried to read him off and say, "Oh, there was a mistake. We shouldn't have told you about this," he got very mad, and this was one of the many reasons why he got involved. There was also several individuals in the Pentagon at the time who were also very concerned about UAP. One of them was actually the original director for OSAP. Dr. James Lukatsky. James Lukatsky was probably, in my opinion anyways, the world's premier rocket scientist.
Sorry, did I do that? My bad.
Who epitomizes what it means to be a rocket scientist for the U.S. government. He could tell you...
It's like our truth. Sorry, my bad. I didn't know that. My bad. Let me go back.
Stage solid rocket booster motor. He could tell you the trajectory and reentry velocity of, let's say, a MIRV, multiple reentry vehicle coming in from low Earth orbit. The guy was just a wealth of information.
Skinwalkers at the Pentagon? That's who you're talking about?
Yeah. And so that's James Lukatsky, and there were several others that were part of this effort. And I can happy to talk to you about them. But
what was Harry Reid's interaction when he was a kid?
I don't know. He never shared that with me.
But he did say that he did have something.
He shared that with me and a couple others, yeah.
Got it. So their motive is it almost personal? Like, look, I think something's going on. Let's find out. And let's put a program here. Or is it because Harry is in Nevada, right? And Area 51 is in Nevada. Now, the other fellow you're talking about is from Hawaii, right? And then Glenn. So it's not like everything is Nevada-based. Did any of his motives of wanting to do this because there was Area 51 in Nevada, or no?
Well, I think that the real impetus was the fact that he was aware there were U.S. military encounters going on with these UAP. There's a real national security issue here, right? You have these vehicles, let's call them vehicles, that have the ability to fly unimpeded, unchallenged into controlled U.S. airspace over sensitive military installations, and potentially even interfere with our nuclear equities, our nuclear capabilities.
They say this place at night can
happening so often, especially with a lot of our nuclear carrier strike groups, that people on the ship were literally using their phones to take pictures and videos of these things. So something had to be done. And I think from that perspective, I can't really talk much about the Skinwalker Ranch because my focus was more on the ATIP, the military aspect of this. But there was significant amount of data to suggest that, there's something there. Because it's not just eyewitness testimony, right? It's not like grandma seeing some lights in the backyard. We're talking about trained observers that are trained to recognize a silhouette at 10 miles away and determine, is it an Su-22, is it a MiG-25, is it an F-16, and identify friend or foe. Do I kill it or do I save it? Right, within a second. This is how these pilots are, and they're Top Gun trained. Like literally, people watch the movie Top Gun. Well, these are the real Top Gun pilots, and not only are they seeing these craft that outperform anything that they have in their inventory, but it's also being further substantiated by gun camera footage and FLIR footage from a pod, forward-looking infrared footage, and, oh, by the way, it's also being corroborated by radar signature and radar returns from airborne radar, seaborne, and ground-based radar systems. So you have this menagerie, if you will, or this collection of sensor capabilities, all reporting the same incident at the same time, at the same location, under the same circumstances, right?
Oak Island?
Now, put that on the backdrop of where I come from, being a...
I've seen some Oak Island, stuff like that. My father and family's part, goes back to different secret societies and stuff like that. Hold on. Can you see me on the PBD podcast here on this, or I need to make sure here. I need to get this out. How do you get that out? How do you get this out? And everything. Okay. Alright. Good. We're back. And I was on the wrong window here. Let me see here. Let's see, something's wrong with the kick here. Let's see. Oh, yes. I need to make sure this stuff is working here. Hold on. On kick. I don't know why it's not working with kick. I don't know why. But hold on. I'll be right back. I'm gonna end it and restart it because something's wrong with the kit. So I'm gonna restart this. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Yeah.